Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
So we're hoping that the audience can hear me.
Oh, they can hear you. Oh, they can hear you real good. The key is now I don't know. I think it's not covering your face, but it might be. Do you feel a level of like clearance?
Well, I can see the camera.
Yeah, you can see the camera, but can your mouth see the camera?
But can my mouth see the camera?
You sounded like
I
I was gonna say Aaron Neville.
Can you see my face? But my mouth is covered.
It reminds me of one of our earliest episodes, the Serenade the Trees, where you did the slow jam. You did this thing.
Baby, darling, I'm gonna serenade the trees.
Oh, I think
Baby, our smooth jams.
the slow jam the trees. Yes, we like. I want to bring that back annually because I feel like that was
I think every Arbor Day we should slow
jam the trees for
Yep.
sure. Sure. Hi, buddy. Oh, he's taking a sip of his red dad.
Yeah, hi, pal.
Hey, do you notice anything different about me?
Not a thing. You look exactly the same as you've always looked. I see no difference. I don't see glasses.
Wait, that means you see him.
I don't.
He doesn't say, I have new glasses.
I don't see anything.
I don't see anything.
I don't see.
I actually can't
I don't see gender. I don't see
clothing.
religion. I don't see race. And I don't see glasses.
I don't see glasses. So I got new glasses. Since you don't see them, I got new glasses. I got a haircut. And yesterday was my birthday.
This comes as a shock.
It's complete shock. He
This
had
is a
no
surprise
idea.
to me, and I bought you nothing.
I kept hoping yesterday you'd remember, but you didn't. No, I'm kidding.
I forgot not just that you are that you had a birthday yesterday. I forgot to
Oh, you got your phone. You gotta turn your phone off, dude.
airplane mode,
Okay.
Wi-Fi off.
Wi-Fi off. No airplane mode. No. And get it as far away from you as possible.
I will not find that phone again. And it's turned into airplane mode. So when I call it to search for it, I won't be able to find it then either.
That's actually very true. There's
Yeah.
many, many times that I find Noel's phone somewhere in the building. I'll be like, hey, here's your phone. You
Thanks,
left it here. I love it.
Well, because I have to put it away. Because I can't have people
Yes.
calling me in the middle of meetings or if I'm talking. If I'm having an important, in-depth conversation and the thing just rings.
And people love to call you.
Never stops ringing.
That's something that's very true. People
That's
love
nice.
to get in touch with Noel.
Which I'm very lucky. I mean, I imagine there's people probably sitting somewhere and
That don't get calls as often as you do.
somewhere in Seattle.
Definitely Seattle.
They're wishing that, boy, would someone give me a call?
It's raining outside, and I wish somebody would
Like,
call me.
someone call me. I need some attention. And
Turn on some Temple of the Dog. I got to sit here and mope.
I feel like we should randomly call people just to tell them that we love them. Like, just pick a number.
In Seattle,
Just,
specifically.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's start there.
I think Seattle.
Let's work our way across the country.
Top left.
Top
and work
left,
our way all the way
And
across
just-
to the bottom right.
So it'll be like the opposite of prank phone calls. It'll be like kind prank phone calls.
We
You
will
call people and you're like, I love you.
prank
and
them
then hang
with
up.
prank them with kindness.
I hope you're having a great day.
This is something I feel like we as the people of the
use.
podcast could start to really get behind.
Yeah.
So let's prank your neighbor with kindness.
Yeah. Have you heard about this number neighbor thing that's going on? This phenomenon on the interwebs?
I'm so out of touch. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so number neighbor is you take your phone number and you either add one digit to the last number or subtract one digit to the last number, and that's your number neighbor. And so people will
So
screen
mine
grab.
would be 620.
No. No, it's they so people are saying they're showing like screen grabs of like them texting being like, "Hey, number neighbor." And then the other person going like, "Oh, I was thinking about trying this out, but whatever." And it either has really good turnout or it completely backfires and it goes awfully. And people are like, "Leave me alone.
Don't ever neighbor me again.
Don't ever do that
We're
to me."
not neighbors.
Right? This is America.
We're not
Don't do-
friends.
Don't ever do that.
I don't like people.
Yeah.
Stop.
Hi. By the way, welcome to the Biofriendly Podcast. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Noel.
And
We're your hosts.
We're your hosts.
In case that was unclear.
No.
Sometimes it's not clear.
They should know by now. This is episode 26.
Oh no, I have to sneeze.
Oh no.
I gotta hold it.
Do it away from the
No,
mic.
I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna keep it inside. I'm gonna use my mind powers. Done.
and
I
it's
just
gone.
held the sneeze.
The rest of the entire podcast, he'll just be like, I hate that feeling when you're about to sneeze and you can't get it to come. That's actually kind of agony. Well, today we're going to talk about a subject that I kind of stumbled upon.
Okay.
I stumbled upon it because there was an article that I saw about how there was going to be some bills and stuff proposed to fix the whole expiration date on food thing.
Oh.
So, like, to help regulate that.
Okay,
Like,
because people just kind of put whatever date they want?
yeah,
Is that the issue?
if you notice, it says things like sell by, best by,
Right.
use by.
Which doesn't tell me anything.
Exactly. It gets very confusing.
Sell by. I mean, so does that mean if it's sell by, you sell by then, do I have a week?
That's the exact
Do I have
problem.
a month?
Yeah,
Do I have a day?
exactly. So this goes
Okay.
back to one of my favorite Seinfeld bits from back in the 90s where he says, have you ever had milk the day after the day? You're so nervous. The spoon's trembling in your hands. And he goes, how do they land on that day? Does the cow tip them off? Does the guy milk it? And he's like, July 3rd. And the guy milking is like, oh, got it. So I love that bit. But
That's
it's
a good bit.
true that this is a common thing across America for sure. I don't know globally, but we have an issue with there's such an inconsistent, like, when this food is expired,
Right.
that people end up getting kind of freaked out and being like, and they waste food that they shouldn't have to waste.
Yeah.
Because it's not been
Because
regulated.
it's so fine.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
we don't know.
Exactly.
Or you're drinking food that's poison.
Yes, exactly.
I like to drink my food.
Well, yeah. So, but it's...
Well, okay, now on that side of this is included in this topic the fact that you can get a half gallon of juice and it will say serving size,
right.
but then doesn't specify in the ingredients how many grams. Is the gram per serving size or is it gram per bottle?
That's a great question.
They don't actually specify that. They tell you what the serving size is, but they don't say if it's per serving size or per bottle in order to mess with your brain mind.
I think an amendment needs to be added to this
To the
bill.
Constitution.
Constitution. No, I think that, I don't have the answer to that. All I know, so what this led me down the road to was the subject of food waste in general. And so when you type in food
So you
waste.
brought up a fascinating topic, and now we're not going to talk about the fascinating
No,
topic?
we
We're
are
going to talk
absolutely-
about a totally different topic that's
No.
nowhere near as fascinating.
No, I'm absolutely going to talk about that topic. What I'm saying is, I saw this thing about this bill going through,
Yeah.
and it's basically let me find the of the millions of articles that I have. Of course, I don't have the one that I'm looking for. No,
But I like that you were singing as you were
no,
articles
lots of articles
that I put
about.
on my phone.
No, there's so basically this policy is being put through for food label regulation of when something expires because
Right.
it's a huge issue of food waste. Food waste is a massive problem, especially for the United States. We are the global leaders. We are number one in food waste.
How much food are we wasting?
It's staggering.
You
won't want to know this.
Oh, you're going to be
Food-
staggered.
Okay.
You'll stand up. I'll say this, and you will
Okay.
staggering.
I can actually tell you that right now.
If you were
Americans waste an unfathomable amount of food. In fact, according to a Guardian report released this week, roughly 50% of all produce. I didn't even say that.
all the Prudos, all of it,
This is why I should have done.
50% of all of it.
This is why I should have done Unique New York before it began.
I should open every podcast with our mouth exercises.
Okay, released this week. Roughly 50% of all produce in the United States is thrown away. Some 60 million tons or 160 billion worth of produce annually. 1/3 of all foodstuffs, it says.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
That's frustrating.
That's a lot, right?
It's frustrating when you figure that
Right. That there's people going
there's
hungry.
starving kids.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
Americans waste 150,000 tons of food each day, equal to a pound a person.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is a problem because we as America, this seems to be uniquely to us from what I read. We seem to have an aesthetics problem with our fruits and veggies.
Oh, completely.
Right?
Completely. That's why you can't find a banana that'll last longer than 12 seconds.
I know. And it's funny because you see like one brown spot on a banana and you're like, oh, this is no good. You know what I mean? Or you will do everything in your power to nowhere go near
Yeah, and
that banana.
And that very problem has made it so that we can't, you can't have a proper banana anymore. We've genetically modified
Right.
bananas to the point that there's only one banana.
Right.
And so that banana now is got a disease, and there's not enough.
Right.
There's not enough variety in its genetic code that it can fight the disease. So
Right.
they're just dying.
Right. So what have we done to bananas? We've ruined them.
We've ruined
Bananas.
Bananas.
We've ruined bananas. No, but this is
Thanks, America.
Thanks, America. You've ruined bananas. No, but this is a problem because there's a lot of places around the world that if you go to the market and you find tomatoes, fruits, apples, whatever, and they've got bruising or they're discolored in certain areas, people are like, yeah, it's fine. No problem. I'll take it home. I'll cut off that area or I'll work around it. I'll use the 98% of this fruit that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But notoriously in the US, they're like, oh no. I couldn't bear to bring
Could
this
you-
unsightly thing into my home.
Could you imagine eating a bruise? I just
can't with this. So, right out of the gate,
I don't know why I imagined that rich people do that.
Oh, they do.
Like
I
spoiled
do.
uppity people.
I do. I believe that you're right. I believe that rich people around the world absolutely go.
That's how they respond to this.
That's one of my
situation.
goals in life is to be able to get to that I know I've made it.
Yeah.
But it's so right out of the gate we're here to tell you be a little bit more forgiving on your produce, on your fruits and vegetables. Like if you go to the market and you see a little discolored area or if you see a pretty one, by all means take that. But if you go home and there's a bruise or a dent, it's fine. It's edible.
Edible.
You can still eat it. Don't waste it. Okay?
Give the fruit a chance, man.
All we are saying is give fruit a chance.
I held my ear because that's what they do in the movies. Give fruit a chance.
Totally do that.
Yeah.
They totally do that. So I actually, when I was in college, I worked another fascinating Jacob job story.
I gotta hear this.
I had a lot of jobs. This is a true fact about me. And what happened was every summer when I would go back between my college, I would go back to Illinois in the suburbs. And when you go to when you'd show up home and all the good jobs were taken up, you'd go to these temp agencies and they'd basically have a checklist of what jobs are you willing to do. I would check the box that said all of them. All of them.
What are you willing to do?
Yes.
I
worked. That's when I brought up the thing about working in the ice cream one a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I would check the box because some kids would come back from college and they'd be like, no, I'll just work in an air conditioned office comfortably.
Yeah.
Whereas there would be a field are you willing to do manual labor? Are you willing to work around very uncomfortable, dangerous situations?
Are you willing to eat fruit?
Yes.
That is not of the highest visual quality.
No, so I would volunteer for, okay, what have you got to give me? So I worked in a thermonuclear plant. I worked in a furniture store where the guy who was training us, it was a massive warehouse and he had lost about 6 of his fingers to furniture landing on him and cutting him off. These were the places that I worked. So this one job that I had that I really
Wait.
I promise this episode is about food waste.
This guy
Yeah.
was
He was
this
training
guy
us.
who's training you.
Yes, he was
to move furniture.
Yeah.
Has lost 6 fingers.
Yes.
Due to his own business practices.
Yes.
And he's still got a business.
Yes,
and he's hiring
it
people.
It was literally like a giant warehouse full of cabinets and furniture for offices, so giant offices and things like that. And you had to be able to move these huge, big, bulky pieces of furniture. And he was warning us about being very careful. And he was showing us. He was showing us that he had lost his fingers. And I went back to the temp agency and I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to do this one. I made it about one day because I was like, I don't want to lose my fingers. I play the guitar,
Jacob, here's the situation.
You got to be careful with these
You're picking up
cabinets.
this couch. You have to be very careful, otherwise you may end up looking like me.
Right?
He's got-
Unbelievable.
this is horrible. After just talking about how I don't see glasses,
Yeah.
that I realize that there's a flaw. There's a flaw in my character.
Yeah.
But
you do see people who've got their fingers lobbed off.
I do see inattentive people.
Inattentive. That's a good way of describing this manager.
Well, I can understand losing a finger in that business. I get it.
Yeah.
I can understand in that business. Even 2 fingers, I'll pass.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that is just bad luck.
Yeah.
But if you've lost 6 fingers in your business,
He was the non-6-fingered man.
That's
from The Princess Bride.
At some point, you have to say, I'm just not paying attention.
I'm just not good at my job.
I can't, you can't work there.
He may have lost all 6 in one fell swoop. I don't know. It might have been just one giant piece of furniture and he lost them all.
I
But
suppose that's better.
Yeah, I guess.
So it was all in one hand that he lost all 6 fingers? Is that what you're saying? He was one of those guys with 6 fingers? And
yeah. He had them
he had his
all
hands
set
in
down. He had them all set down.
Someone dropped
Somebody dropped
a bench on it.
He just lost 6. And he was like, man.
He's like, that is not going to be good for my training classes when I have people come in. Boy, when I try to employ somebody, I'm going to have to go through the Jacobs who are willing to do anything.
Oh my God. I promise you guys this episode is about food waste. I didn't realize that Yes. So I did not last long at that job. Not because I lost fingers. Biofriendly. No, I looked at that guy and I was like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's going to be very safe. So back to the real story. I worked at a place called Kingsley Machine Company. In Kingsley Machine Company, their job was to print the expiration date on bags of products, primarily chips.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the point of the
Now
story.
we're back to the
food waste. So we manufactured the machine presses and then the foil that they would use on those presses to date on food to say this is when this is not good to eat anymore.
Okay.
And while I was there, I learned that date it didn't necessarily hold true. It was kind of arbitrary. It changed from company to company. And so they made the decision on when they thought it would expire. Right. So back to the point.
Right. I can understand that if you're making a proprietary product. You have a certain thing that you've created and you've done your own internal testing. You're like, this product lasts this long.
Right.
And then it's no good.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about food, you would think that it's pretty standard. Although with all the preservatives and garbage they throw in things,
that's the challenge.
Maybe it isn't.
That's the challenge. And so the good news is there's going to be legislation put through that's going to help fix this and make it where every food company at least uses the same language about when. So there won't be as much if this goes through. I think it's being brought in by both Republicans and Democrats, both sides. They're bringing it in to say, we need to fix this because having something say sell by, use by, best by, it's very unclear and Americans are throwing things in the trash that are for no reason at all. And we obviously, from the stats that I told you earlier, oh, sorry about that. My iPad just chimed a news notification. I'm sorry.
You're supposed to be on airplane mode.
I can't be on airplane mode. I have to use the internet.
You're supposed to not be using your iPad in the middle of the show.
We still have our fingers.
Okay.
That's all. That's an upside. That's an upside.
That's another group we can add to our list of people who hate us now.
Yeah, people who've lost their fingers on the job.
Multiple fingers.
Look, if you've lost your fingers on a job, I'm sorry. That's not our department.
And I'm sorry if we don't understand. We'll try to get better.
We'll try to get better about that. But my personal experience, it was pretty funny to have a guy training us who had lost so many appendages. Anyway, back to the food. So one of the people that it's very good about fighting food waste is Trader Joe's.
Really?
Yes. They have implemented with a group here called Feeding America, which is another very, very, very cool group.
Is Trader Joe's national or are they only West half wide? Because if so, I feel like for our international audience, maybe I'll say this: Trader Joe's is a grocery store.
It's a treasure.
It's a treasure. It's a specific kind of grocery store where they try to find, they source their materials responsibly, and they have a lot of organic foods, and they really try to focus on bringing you quality goods. They're a little bit more expensive, and it's not like huge superstore kind of thing. It's more of like a market.
They wear Hawaiian shirts, and they're all very positive. That's kind of their mantra.
And they'll hide a stuffed animal in there for your kids to find. And
they do. So if you don't have a Trader Joe's, which I know that they're all over the country, but I know that there are certain states and towns that don't have them.
Right.
I know that because I've been places and
Just want to let people know in case they're like, what's
a Trader Joe's?
What's a Trader Joe's?
Right. Sorry, by the way, for the noises while he was telling that. I laughed so hard that my eyes were crying and my nose was running from the thing that I was like, I have to wipe my nose here. So Feeding America, which is a long-standing food donation program, they've been working with Trader Joe's. They make sure that at the once their food goes into they can't sell it anymore. They make sure that different it gets delivered to different local food pantries and food recovery programs.
Oh, great.
So they make sure that 100% of food that is not fit for sale but safe for consumption is donated. This includes items like day of expiring foods, dented cereal boxes, cartons of eggs that may have a single cracked egg and pieces of misshapen produce, like what we were just talking about.
America.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So they do that. And the crazy thing is...
They should have a grocery store called Oblong.
Oblong.
Yeah, and Oblong is... All they do at Oblong is they sell...
Oddly shaped
fruits, vegetables, foods, things that are not quite right. Things that are...
I think not in the U.S., but I think I saw a place in Europe that was their goal. Yeah. Was to only find the misshapen produce and sell the odd ones.
They need our marketing minds to tell them what to call their store.
Totally.
So people
Oblong
will be like,
is great.
I have to shop at Oblong.
Would you guys shop at Oblong?
Would you shop at Oblong? Because I'm shopping at Oblong.
I would too. So the grocers' commitment to the program has made an impressive impact. In 2017 alone, the grocery store chain donated 70 million pounds of food, worth nearly $350 million. And according to Feeding America, that's nearly 58 million meals. So the exciting thing about this food waste is we often talk about the world problems, things like the Sustainable Development Goals. Like number 2 is end hunger. And so when you take on that goal of end hunger, that's a daunting thing. You're like, end hunger?
Yeah. That's like ending crime forever.
Yes, ending crime forever.
Which only one group has ever been able to do.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, they're no longer around.
They're not even together anymore. Yeah, the good cops.
Yeah.
But the Sustainable Development Goals of number 2, end hunger, when you hear something like end hunger, you're kind of like, how do we do that? But then when you realize that 50% of the United States food ends up being wasted, you go, I think we can end hunger.
Well, you figure, right?
I think we can do it.
If a kid is starving, okay, I don't think that kid cares if there's a bruise on the apple.
Yeah. Definitely not.
I don't think that kid cares.
No.
If one of the eggs in the 12-pack is cracked.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's a really great point.
Yes.
It's a really great point.
Yes. And so that is something when I started looking at the statistics about how much food is wasted, I was like, oh no, this is depressing. I was like, this is a depressing podcast. But I think that what's exciting is there are Feeding America, Trader Joe's, a lot of different groups and organizations that are working to solve it. And I think that the point of this episode is to give you guys ways that you can help. Because if we could at home and even globally find ways to reduce our food waste, then that just helps. That just domino effect through the whole problem. Less food is being wasted, more people are being fed, and we can work together to end hunger.
I mean, this is our mantra throughout this show, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the simple thing that you can do that has the domino effect to help in a massive scale? And this is one of those things.
Absolutely.
So listen very carefully to the words that are coming.
Listen.
So you can learn how to be more efficient with your food.
Yes. Are you ready for that? You want me to give you some? Okay, so here's...
Jacob, it's time.
It's time for
Let's
the tips.
Teach them to be efficient.
We're here to teach you how to be efficient.
All right, remove your fingers and teach.
And teach. Step 1, shop smart and realistically. Okay? So this is the first tip, which is when you go grocery shopping, the temptation is because we get annoyed with shopping frequently, and so we want to get it done and get it out of the way. So a lot of times people have the tendency to buy a little too much food, more than they're able to consume in a reasonable amount of time. So things end up getting thrown in the trash.
Should we also add to this?
Yeah.
When shopping, shop fed.
Shop fed. Oh, if you don't know that life hack, that's key. Go to the grocery store after you've eaten. Never go grocery shopping while you're hungry. It's a terrible idea.
Because this will add many, 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 many things to your shopping cart that you don't want to pay for. You're never going to eat.
I know.
And when you see it at home later, you're going to be like, oh, that's terrible for me. I can't eat an entire pack of double stuffed Oreos. There's a reason I never buy these.
Right. That is an exclusive exclusive Biofriendly podcast tip, which is shop fed.
Shop fed.
Yeah. So shop fed and shop
smart and shop realistically.
Shop realistically.
Yeah.
So like if you're getting stuff, it may mean that you need to go to the grocery store more times a week. But the purpose of that is, that terrible feeling. I know you know this, listeners. I do it. It happens to us too.
Yep.
Where you've gone grocery shopping, you've gone 3-4 days of having awesome dinners and meals at home, and then you get to the end of the week and you open up that produce drawer or you pick up something and it's rotted. It's turned. There's mold on it. And you're like, oh, no, I didn't use this in time. And you throw something in the trash.
Too many strawberries.
Yes, exactly. And you didn't get to it in time. So the point of that, shop fed, shop realistically. If you think that within the next 2-3 days, you'll probably not get to everything, then maybe try to split up your grocery runs.
Right. And don't marry Noel Carroll.
Okay.
There's an additional
Everybody, listen up. Don't marry Noel Carroll.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is a frustration of my wife's, and I imagine this probably some other people can relate to this, is that my schedule can often be unusual.
Right.
And I sometimes have to travel.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm rushing out the door this day or I'm fine that day. And I like to there's certain foods I love to bring to work when I can do that.
Right.
But my schedule changes sometimes at the drop of a hat, and what's going on changes. So I end up not, she'll buy a bunch of stuff that I really want to eat, but then I can't eat it that week because
you're gone.
Everything went to pot.
I know. It's very true. And that probably happens a lot in this country with people and their busy schedules and work and obligations. And so that's something that we all have to kind of work together and sit down and try to look at the week. Honestly, it's tough to do that all the time, but you know, it's these little baby steps that can get us there. Yeah. But I think you're definitely not the only one that happens to. That happens to us as well. Yeah. All right. So next fact would be, when cooking, don't overserve food. And the idea here is
Did you say oversurf food?
Yes. Do not ride on the wave of food into your...
Not too much.
Too much. Do it small, like low waves.
Like you do it the right amount, and you're fine.
So don't overserve food. It's because the idea of large portions have kind of been driven by restaurant culture, especially in our country. Like we get used to these giant plates of food coming out restaurants when we go out to eat. And so we think when we're dining at home that we got to load up and make a massive amount of food. Really, you probably don't need to eat like claim jumper size dinners.
No, that always reminds me of that. There's a 7-Eleven ad, or maybe it was AM/PM.
Yeah.
No, it's 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
There's a 7-Eleven ad where there's a guy like in a trucker hat, and he's probably 6'7". He probably weighs about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
He walks into the room and he grabs a McDonald's cup, which is a large, except it's only 16-ounce size, and he goes,
"Right,
you call this a large?" And then they cut to 7-Eleven's Big Gulp. And he walks out with just like a popcorn tub of soda. He's like,
man.
No, that's a large.
Yeah, that's a large.
And I realized that's I was like 8 or something when this ad came out. And I remember thinking, oh, that's America.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. When I was a kid, we had... Are there Quick Trips here in a place called Quick Trip in California?
No.
Okay, that was in Oklahoma, where I grew up.
Maybe if you get out closer to Arizona, you're getting out more, but not really around
Not around
LA.
here. So we had Quick Trip, QT is what we called it. We had Texaco, QT, things like that. But you would go to Quick Trip, and they totally had this giant, these giant cups that you could buy that were filled with soda. So I grew up with the same thing. And if I'm remembering right, there was a dog on the QT cup called Lamar. And I think the commercial was, "Ain't that right, Lamar?"
That's wonderful.
I'm pretty sure.
Lamar.
My Oklahoma friends and family that listen, I may be misremembering that, but I remember, "Ain't that right, Lamar?" And I think that was the QT. It was like a country guy talking to his dog. His dog, it was totally one of those dogs that has the hair all over his eyes.
Yes.
Like this, like just white, fuzzy. Yeah. And he had his big, giant, anyway, "Ain't that right, Lamar?" Anyway,
that's great.
So next tip, save and actually eat leftovers. This is something that my house, I literally, like, it drives me crazy when we bring leftovers home and they don't get eaten. Like I really, really push hard to be like, if we're bringing this home, We're eating it. I cannot literally wade through the fridge and see a box that I'm like, what is this from? How long has this been in here?
Right.
We have to eat it. So if you're going to save it, actually eat the leftovers.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Store food in the right places. A lot of people don't know this, but some fruits and produce don't belong in the fridge, and some belong at room temperature and sit out. And there's actually a list that breaks down like which ones will last longer in different areas of your house.
But Jacob, where can the fans of the Biofriendly podcast find this list?
Only on the Facebook group. So if you want to see the list of the right places to store your produce, I will list it on the Biofriendly podcast Facebook group. So you're going to have to join
for that on Facebook.
I mean, last week I gave away an awesome make your own laundry detergent recipe, and it was great.
People are using that now.
I'm changing the world. Okay. So why don't you get your butt over there? Okay. So avoid clutter in your fridge, pantry, and freezer. This idea being, if it's stuck and hidden in the back and in the caverns back there, you might not see it and it's going to go bad because it's something out of sight. So it's always about kind of like the fresh ingredients, the things that you bought at the store. They should be kind of upfront, visible, something you're going to go through. It's really easy for stuff to get crammed in the back and then you go, oh, we forgot about this, and then it goes in the trash. Food waste.
Food waste.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Right? Now, number 6, treat expiration and sell-by dates as guidelines. This goes back to the original point. As guidelines.
This is such a dangerous thing to say. I mean, I agree.
Live on the edge, people.
I agree. Guidelines. The only thing is I don't want someone to eat mold.
No, it says trust your senses instead of the date. Trust your sense of smell, sight, and taste. So don't just look at that date as gospel. Don't look at that thing and go, oh, it expired yesterday, and just throw it in the trash. Smell it. Taste it. Take a risk, people.
Life is short. Take chances.
Take chances. No, I think it was there was from the early 90s, an SNL sketch where they're making everybody. I think it was with Tom Hanks. He was the guest, and it was like they were drinking milk. He said, "Oh, it's awful," and he makes people smell it and then pass around the table,
and everybody
has to do it. And then it's like, oh, he sits on a chair and there's a nail, and he's like, oh, this nail hurts. Try it. And then they end up going to the stairs, and he's like, there's this loose stair that goes to the basement, and he falls down. He's like, you got to try it. And they all take turns falling down the basement. But to the point is when you have a food item, just check it yourself, and you'll know, if it's not any good.
Remember that we evolved to be what we are, and part of that evolution, like there haven't been grocery stores and expiration dates for very long in human history.
Right.
So if you think about how we've evolved and how we've survived through most of human history, it is from using those senses and being like, this seems pretty good, right? And you have even a better chance than you did back in the old days when that was your only option, because the food has been through a lot of
processing
to make sure that it's pretty good.
Exactly.
So trust that. That is a built-in system. Trust it.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
That's all we're saying. I'm not saying poison yourself. I'm not saying drink rotted milk. I mean, there's nothing worse. I don't know if you've ever had this happen where you pour, like a creamer in your coffee.
And it's chunky?
And it's chunky. I've had that happen before. And I'm like, well, I guess that's expired. But we're just saying trust your senses.
And then I throw away the coffee. And then I throw away the coffee grounds. And then I have to brew a whole new thing of coffee.
Right.
And then I've wasted all of that coffee.
Such a waste.
Some poor hipster didn't get to drink that coffee.
Right.
Because of me pouring
just
chunky...
because you don't like chunky milk.
I'm a thoughtless jerk.
Number 7, this is a kind of a bigger step for people to try. This is something that I think I'm going to try to do. Keep track of what you throw away. So like maybe jot out, get out your phone, get out your iPad, whatever, make a list of every time you throw stuff away. So that next time you go grocery shopping, you don't sit there and go like, oh, I definitely need more of these. And be like, didn't I just throw away? Didn't I just toss those because nobody ate them in my house?
Don't I now keep statistics on my past failures? Yes. And shouldn't I use those statistics to make better decisions in the future?
I mean, basically, yeah. It's that simple. Donate to food banks and farms. So before you throw away excess food, look into food banks and charities where you can bring items that you know you're not going to consume before they go bad and give them to people in need. You can find local food banks using Feeding America and Why Hunger. Those are 2 places you can check out. And then try canning and pickling. I've never done this.
I have never canned or pickled a thing in my life.
Canning is a great way to preserve food, especially fruit, and increase its shelf life for months.
So this is another thing we gotta add in the future to our broadcasting.
Okay.
As we do this, we should have a person who totally does this and shows
like the guides
the
on
world.
how to do it.
Yeah, like I am today going to try pickling a sausage farm.
Right.
And the whole sausage farm's going to go in the
I think it's a great idea.
You're going to pickle the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then they show how to do it.
We should get somebody who will do it right. Because I feel like if we film ourselves doing it, we'll probably mess it up. And then that person can teach us how to do it, and then we'll be better off.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the farther we get away from this, the better. I don't think that you and I are qualified.
We're just meant to tell you things.
In the slightest.
Yes.
Yes. No, our job is to present information in a way that people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's all we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So we are close to wrapping things up. I wanted to make sure. So the last thing says you can use helpful apps and gadgets. So there's a lot of apps and things out there. Pair Up, Handpick, Food Cowboy, which just sounds fun. These are different ways to help you with things. Like Handpick sounds cool. It says helps you plan meals around ingredients you already have. So you just type in like what you have in your house.
I got this, and then it'll make that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm going to download that app.
Handpick.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
So it's like I've got
these things in my house.
I've got some eggs.
I've got some cumin,
and I've got cumin, and I've got olives.
and they're like, oh well, olive surprise with cumin. So those are really cool things that you can use. We should do an episode on apps. Now that I'm thinking about it, we should totally do an episode on apps.
Coming soon to the Biofriendly podcast, an episode on apps.
Oh, now it's not going to be a surprise for you.
Yeah,
well. Last one, try composting, but don't focus on it.
Please don't focus on it.
Yeah, rather than
focus too hard, then the composting will explode and you'll ruin the whole thing. If you use your mind powers and you really stare.
No. Not everybody has that ability. Oh. Rather than discarding scraps, you can compost certain foods and turn it into nutrient-rich fertilizer.
Do you hear helicopters?
They've come after him. They found him because of his powers. The composting shouldn't be top of the mind when first getting started on reducing food waste. The EPA has a food recovery hierarchy, which I will share on the Biofriendly podcast Facebook group, on how we use our food, stating first that we should reduce the waste we create, then donate food, try to feed livestock, use waste for industrial energy, and then compost. It's kind of at the bottom of the list. It's something that is a nice safety to prevent things from going in landfills, but it shouldn't be like your number one focus. Make sense?
Yeah, no.
But if you can compost with your eyes,
it's a tool. It's something you can do. You should totally do it. But remember that there are other things that are more helpful.
Yes.
So let's look at those first.
Yes. So that's basically it. I wanted to come here today to talk about ways that people could save their food and also not lose their fingers in jobs.
And I think you really achieved both things.
Both those things. Yeah. So anyway, well,
One other thing is the word unfathomable.
I can't say it very well.
No. I thought
unfathomable.
I thought Prudos wasn't great.
Yes,
but unfathomable.
Prudos was all wrong.
Unfathomable was you were on it.
Unfathomable.
But here's the thing about unfathomable. Does that come from the word fathoms?
Yes,
like
I think so.
Cannot be like a measurement of distance.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I cannot fathom where So
right. So I don't like it's to measure it is impossible. Do you think that's the derivation?
I think that is it. You nailed it. This has been English grammar lessons with Noel.
This is the stuff that happens in my brain halfway through the podcast. You see unfathomable, and I'm stuck on unfathomable for like 3 minutes of the podcast. I'm quietly sitting here.
No, it's fine.
Where did it come from?
There was a person, and I love that you listen to the show. By the way, they tagged our Biofriendly group because it was like somebody asking for recommendations of podcasts, and this person wrote, "It's a great show if you're okay with tangents." And I was like, guilty as charged.
Oh, that's great.
Guilty as charged. We love you, and we love having you as a listener. And we know we do the tangents. And I mean, I think that that's just part of the Biofriendly podcast.
That's what you're paying for.
That's what you're paying for. Yeah.
Did we not mention to them we're charging?
Well, yeah. By the way, you'll get your bill shortly. We charge per tangent. No, it's one of those things when you get Noel and I in the same room, we can't help but laugh about random things. And so we want to teach about environmental things, but we also want to, I don't know, give you a laugh, give you a good time.
We have to to laugh now and again.
We have to cut up.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Right.
Yeah.
That's that's what I do love about this show is that I think that it's listed in comedy. I do that on purpose because I think that the Greenies could use a little laugh from time to time.
It's a tough job out here.
It's a real bummer out there. I got to say, I follow about 25 blogs and go and look at sites all day long about environmental issues. And I'm going to say, rarely do I come across things that are kind of like, yeah, we got this. They're mostly like, we're all going to die. And so I just think that we could all use a little bit more of a
beacon of light.
A beacon of light in your gloomy environment. Saving the world, eventually.
Sound years ahead of the competition.
I did them out of order.
I think they don't remember. It's okay. They're never going to know.
So glorious. So handsome. And then there was another one that I don't remember. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us for the Biofriendly podcast. We love you. Please subscribe, spread the word, tell everybody about it. Come join us in the Facebook group. We can't do this without you. And
review it. Tell the people on the iTunes that we're
write a review.
Tangential, but worth it.
Yes. Tangential. That's
a tagline.
That is what we're going out on this week. Tangential,
but worth it.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.